Okay, so we were discussing Markov chain. So now we have, you know, we have seen some properties of ergodic Markov chain, especially the steady state probabilities, right? So the concept of a steady state probability arises from the fact that if it is an ergodic Markov chain, then and if you observe this Markov chain for a long time, then the probability of being at a particular state doesn't depend on the initial state. Right? This is what it exhibits in the long run, and we call those probabilities as steady state probabilities. And we in the last class we have seen how to compute these probabilities as well. So instead of computing p to the power 100, which is time consuming and quite laborious computationally, we have seen an easy and convenient way of computing the steady state probabilities, right? Which are given by these two equations: pi equal to pi b, and summation of pi is equal to 1. Right. So these we have seen also with an example how to compute these pi's. And then now we are interested to know some more things about the Markov chain, right? So one such thing we have already discussed, which is called first passage time, right? Nij, first passage time. The number of epochs that will be required to enter state J from state I for the first time, right? So that is the definition of Nij. And if we take it as a random variable, because of course it will be random variable because it's uncertain, such event is uncertain. So then we have also seen the probability distribution of this Nij. What is that probability distribution? We have denoted as equal to small n is Fij n, right? So this is small Fij step n give you the distribution of these Nijs, the first passage time probabilities. So we have also computed the mean, so we can that expected value, right? We call it mean first passage time, right? So this Mij is the mean first passage time, which is equal to the expected value of Nijs, right? And which we have seen as summation n equal to 1 to infinity n Fij in step A, right? So we have seen up to this far, and I hope it is all clear. Now, based on this notion of first passage time, we are going to define another term, which is recurrence term. So this Mij is this is known as mean first passage time. And if j equal to I, so if I write mii, right, mii, what does it mean, mii? Mean first passage time from I to I. So it is started from I, and then first time it revisits I, the same state. So that is why we call it mean recurrence time. Right? I don't think there is any problem in understanding this. It's very obvious, right? MII is the mean recurrence time. Now, so this MII can be, say, 10, some value, say 10. What does it mean? So on an average, every 10 iterations, it will revisit this state I, right? So that is the mean recurrence time. So we can understand now. So let us see how it is related to the steady state probability of that state. So MII is the mean recurrence time and pi I is the steady state probability of state I, right? So how these two things are related, MII and pi I? Can anyone tell me? Suppose I take say state 1 for which pi 1 say 1 by 3rd. Inverse,
like,
right? Yes. So pi I is equal to 1 divided by m. And why is it inverse?
generally in probability, like if expectation says, like if the probability is 1 by 9, so in after 9 steps we hope to reach 1, so it's like intuitive wise I'm telling.
Yes, so for example, yeah, for a state 1 say, if I write pi 1 equal to 1 by 3, right? So 1 by 3 means the probability of being at that state is 1 by 3. So that means if you play the game, if you observe the chain for 3 epochs, okay, then you may reach that state 1 once. So every 3 iterations, you may reach once. Okay. And this is how we have defined the recurrence also, the mean number of transitions required to revisit the same state. So it is clear that the relationship is pi I is equal to 1 divided by m. So that means this state appears, so appears once in MII transitions, right? Expected, I mean it will not always be true, but on an average expected. Okay, fine. So now we have established a very important relationship between the steady state probability and the mean recurrence time. So this relationship is very, very important. Okay. So now, suppose if you are given a Markov chain and you are asked to compute the mean recurrence times. Okay. So how do you compute them? It is very easy. So you will simply compute the steady state probability of that state and you will take the inverse. That will be the mean recurrence time. For example, pi 1 you say this is 1 by 3rd. So m11 will be 3. Very simple. Right. So this is okay. But how to compute first passage times? Because as such we have not established any relationship between steady state probability and first passage times. For recurrence time we can establish, but as such for first passage time we cannot establish. So how to compute the, so if you look at this expression, first passage time. You want to ask something?
No sir, someone got unmuted, so he muted again.
So now let us see how to compute this mean first passage time. Now if you see this expression, what is the problem with this? I mean mathematically it looks correct, right? This n equal to 1 to infinity, you have to, because it can take one transition or it can take even 1000 transitions, right, to reach that state. All are possible, and accordingly we have some probabilities, Fij. Now is it really possible to compute this term?
No sir, it's like,
no, right? Infinite.
It can contain infinitely many. Yeah.
Infinitely many terms, right? So it is not possible. So we have to find an alternative way. Mathematically, we have to find it using the concept of recursion. I think all of you are aware of the concept of recursion. You must have studied in at least C language in your first year, right? So we will use recursively. How to compute Mij. Now we will see that. So, how to use the concept of recursion? Say, I want to compute the first passage time from I to j. This is state I and this is say state j. Okay, so this is given by the first passage time is MIG. Now, in how many ways it can happen? Let us see. It can happen even in one step, like it directly goes from I to J in one step, right? So there MIG will be 1, right? It can be 1. In one step it goes with some probability Pij. Suppose it has a direct connection, right? I to J. So with some probability Pij, transition probability, right? So in one step it can go with probability Pij, right? And otherwise it can go to some intermediate state, say, K, right? And then from K, it can go to multiple, intermediate states like this, finally to J. So from I to its neighbor K, immediate neighbor K, with probability Pik, transition probability, and then from K to J through various intermediate nodes, right? So these two are possibilities. So let us mathematically try to write these possibilities. So first one is one step with probability Pij, right? Or it can go to an immediate neighborhood K, which is not the same node I, right? Which is not the same node J, and then through intermediate nodes. So how you can write it? So summation, this K can be anything. This this K can be anything other than J, right? Because if it is J, then you have this first term. So for all other nodes apart from J, right, we have this expression. So in one step it will go to K, I to K. So that is this 1, right, times
Pik.
and then
MKJ.
from K to J, yes, K to J is nothing but MKJ. Again, this is the first passage time from K to J, right? So MKJ, fine. Who has not understood this? So this is a recursion. Where we have used this recursion, this kg. MKJ is another passage time, first passage time. Everyone has understood how I have written this expression, mathematical expression, how I have expressed MIJ?
Sir, can you please explain
again? Again? So
Yes.
say there is a Markov chain, right? And I want to know what is the mean first passage time, that is MIJ. That means the mean number of transitions required to go from I to J, right? So there are two possibilities. Now this can be calculated by computing that mathematical expression summation n equal to 1 to infinity n Fij n, but which is not practically possible, right? Because you cannot compute infinite number of terms, right? So what I am trying to do here, come up with an alternative method to compute these MIJs efficiently. Okay. So we observe that this I to J can happen in two ways. One is the direct, if there is some direct connection I to J with some probability Pij. We know in a Markov chain, these arcs represent the transition probabilities, right? So with some transition probability Pij, you can go to J in a single step. So that is n equal to 1. In a single step you can do, right? Or you can go from I to any neighbor K, right? It can be any neighbor K. And then from K to J through many intermediate nodes, right? There may be a direct connection from K to J as well, which will again be reflected when you compute MKJ, right? So this is what I have written here. So MIJ I am expressing as a sum of two terms, two alternatives. One is the direct jump, from I to j, if it is possible, right? So then it will happen in one step, or you come to k, so that means this is one step. So this is n is 1, right? So 1 times pik, and then from k to j, what is the mean number of steps that will be required is mkj by the definition of mij, right? I have defined mij as the first passage time between I to j. So equally I can define mkj also. So that is the first passage time between k to j. So this is I have written here mkj. So when that will happen, when this will happen with the probability pik, given that it comes to k, one of its neighbors, right? And I have included all the possibilities here apart from j, because j already I have counted in the first one. Is it clear now? Or still doubt is there?
Yes, sir.
It's clear, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay. So now let us try to simplify this to have a nice structure. So this implies mij is equal to, now you see, this is summation k not equal to j 1 times pik, and then you have 1 times pij. So I can combine these two terms and write summation for all k pik plus summation k not equal to j pik times maj. Okay, is it clear? I have just combined this 1 times pik with this pij and written it summation for all k pik plus this one. Okay, so now what is this term? Summation k pik, summation over all k pik. What is this? Sum of
It is
all
one-
transition probabilities, the outgoing arcs, right?
One minus self loop, I guess. If there is any.
No, so yeah, so summation over k pik, what is it? Sum of the probabilities of all outgoing arcs, right?
Yeah.
Which will be 1. Right?
But like, what if there is a self loop? So even that is also considered.
Yeah, that is also
like,
considered. I have not written k not equal to I. K can be I
okay,
as well.
fine. Okay.
So if we further simplify it, it becomes like this: mij is equal to 1 plus summation k not equal to j pik times mkj. So this is the final equation I'm having. Okay. So now you can understand that suppose if I want you, if I give you an example and ask you to compute something, say let us take an example and let us see how to compute this first passage times with the help of this equation. So suppose these, go to the next page. This transition matrix P is given 0.30, 0.60, 0.10, then 0.10, 0.60, 0.30, 0.05, 0.40, and 0.55. Okay. And now suppose I want you to, and these are state 1, 2, and 3, right? Similarly, there is 1, 2, and 3. Right? So suppose I want to know M21. What is M21? How to proceed? You know this. Mij is equal to 1 plus sum over k not equal to j pik times mk. Right. So if you replace yes, if you give M12 here, so what will be the equation?
We have to find
You
M21.
write. So can you try to write M21? Yes, you have to compute M21. You have to write M21. So how to write it M21?
It will be 1 plus
M21 is equal to 1 plus summation
0.
ik
Yeah.
times mkj.
Yeah. So I'm just expanding, so it will be
No, just tell me mathematically. You tell me what will be this TIK.
P23 M31 plus P22 M21.
M31 plus P2
2
P2 2 M
21.
21. So if you look at this chain, this is like this. So 3 states are there, and there are loops, self loops also, and then all these are possible, right? Fine. So now here I see P23 and P22, these are known quantities. So 2 to 1 it can reach in one step, or it can go via 3. This is what is P23 and 31, right? Or it can go to via 2 as well. So this is P22 and 21. Is this clear to everybody? So now we see that this P23 and P22, these two quantities, these are known, P23 and P22. How many unknowns we are having here? 2 unknowns, right? M21 and M31. So we have to compute M31. You have to write another equation, M31, right? So what will be the equation M31? So again, it can go via 2
M21
M21 yes.
plus P33 M3.
Acha, okay.
They will lock the gate by 8:30.
Just 1 minute, They will lock the gate.
Yes, sir.
Acha, you have the key 61, number 61.
Sir, we can't issue the key. That's the problem going on for last like 3-4 days. So they
But
are,
I just inquired with them. They said the key is already issued to someone.
yes, but their name is there. So they already submitted their name.
No,
They are only-
in the department, anybody else is there who is having the
yes,
key?
they will leave by 8:30.
They are sitting there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I think they will see me.
Okay, sir.
They will see me. I'll have a talk. Because they don't close this door. I think they close the main door, the security.
No, only they lock that key was inside.
Achha. No, that I'll take care. Don't worry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm having a class now. We'll talk later. No, I'll take care. Don't worry. Okay. Where was I? P32 and then yes, 2 to 1 and
P33 M31.
M31, right? So now you see, when you consider these two equations, now you see the two equations and two unknowns. So you can easily solve it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So similarly, any other first passage times can be solved. Now, suppose if someone asks you to just solve M21 for a small problem like this, you can manually you can set up these equations and you can solve it. But suppose an equation has, a chain has say 100 states. All are well connected to each other, right? So then if you want to compute M21, then all the possibilities you have to consider, right? So the number of unknowns will then jump exponentially. So then your system of linear equations would also be very big to handle, right? So usually the norm is you can put it in matrix notation and compute everything at one go, right? Uh, so that you don't need to compute all these things separately. So that I'll just briefly discuss how to put this equation in matrix form. Okay. So Mij is equal to 1 plus summation k, which is not equal to j, pik pik and then mkj. This is what we got, right? So let us define this capital N as the matrix representing containing all these Mij's. Okay, fine. And this pik, which is not containing j, let us define as pj, small capital Pj. So what is capital Pj? The transition matrix P except the state j. That means you have to delete the row and column corresponding to the state j, because k not equal to j, we know, right? So this is that is why I define this capital Pj in matrix notation. So now this thing can be rewritten as, so this is n, say this is ni. There is no harm in multiplying an identity matrix, is equal to 1 plus this summation. All this thing can be written as capital P, J and capital N. So this is the matrix notation of the equation, okay, where capital N is the set of these Mij's, the first passage times. Capital Pj, capital Pj is the transition matrix except the state J. Okay. Now I can further simplify this and get the, because I want to compute the Mij's, right? That means I want to know what? I want to know capital N only, right? So how to get capital N?
So one doubt, sir.
Yes, tell me.
So what is this left hand side term Ni which you wrote?
N is the set of Mij's.
Okay,
That
and
means
this N
I
yeah,
is the
that-
identity matrix.
okay, N it is N times identity.
N times I.
Okay, fine.
N times I. So it is basically N. Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So just to further simplify this, I can, so this N, because I want to compute this N basically, right? So this N will be I minus, this is I, right? Minus Pj inverse times 1. So you take this to the left, N is common, so it will be I minus Pj. So that inverse you multiply to 1. So this is the value of N. This is in matrix notation, the first passage times. Now, if I put notation and all these things, it might be quite confusing. So you should be clear about, about it by doing some examples, like the one I have just mentioned, that how to compute M21. It is the same thing, but I am just writing it in matrix form so that all the possible first passage times can be calculated at one go, right? So let us now consider the same example, this one. Okay, and suppose I want to know M21 and M31, right? What is M21 and M31? So here, what is J? So 2 to 1 I want to know for such time, and 3 to 1. So here we have a common J, right? The end state is J, is 1, right? So which one? So if I look at this matrix notation, what I have to compute now?
So can you repeat, sir? So voice problem something.
Yes. Suppose using this matrix notation. So earlier we have seen that how to compute these passage times by constructing these linear equations and solving it. Now I have explained this matrix notation. So using this matrix equation, I want to solve. Say now, same M21 and M31 for the same problem, same data. Then how to solve? So this is n, basically M21 and M31. This is n. This is how I want to solve. So what is the, so I, what is the I here? I is the identity matrix, right? What is Pj? That is, what is J here? J is the end state, Mij, right? So J is 1 here, so P1. So what is P1? P1 is that portion of the transition matrix except node, except state 1, right? So if I look at this transition matrix, I'll just simply delete this one, this column, and this one. State 1 will be removed. So this remaining thing is the P1. This is how we have defined it, right? So P1 comes to be 0.60, 0.30, 0.40, and 0.5. Okay. So now you can simply calculate I minus this, P1 inverse, and then times 1. 1 means this is a vector, so it will be 1, 1. 2 ones are there actually. So I go to the next page. So I minus P1, this inverse, now I compute, which will be 0.4 minus 0.4, right? Minus 0.3 minus 4.5, this inverse, which is 7.50, 5.00, 6. So you can just do it in your calculator, right? This one, this times 1, right? Which means that this matrix, it will be multiplied by 1, 1, right? And which will come to this one, 12.50 and 13.34. So this is nothing but n, which is M21 and M31. Is this? So M21 is this 12.50 and M31 is 13.34. So we see for large cases, it might be impractical to compute all that unless really desired. So if you want to know all the possible first passage times between any pair of nodes, then only you take this approach. But if you are specifically asked that just compute M21, then it is better to construct the corresponding equations and solve it. Okay. So what we have learned so far, we have learned the concept of first passage time, recurrence time when I equal to j, recurrence time. We have seen the relationship between the recurrence time, mean recurrence time, and steady state probability. So it is the inverse. So as such, mean recurrence times are very easy to compute because it is just the inverse of the steady state probability. Comparatively, mean first passage times are harder to compute because it involves solving linear system of equations, right? But you can do it. Just now we have seen how to do it. We have constructed a recursive formula, right? An equation, and then from that we are constructing linear equations and then solving it. we can also solve it through matrix operations, so we can represent those linear equations in matrix form and then solve. But because this inverse of matrix and all these things is quite difficult, computationally, so you do not usually take this approach unless you try to compute all the passage times at one go. Okay. Fine, clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
So now, another important property of the Markov chain is the absorbing state, right? And the Markov chain having absorbing state is also known as absorbing Markov chain. And you already know what is an absorbing state. That is a trapping state. Once you go there, you cannot come out, right? Like in your first year, you still have some probability to shift to some other department, right? It may be very small probability, but it is there. But once you are in second year, then there is no chance. You are trapped in that department, right? And many of you actually feel trapped sometimes. So anyway, so this is, although the absorbing Markov chain is not irreducible, and it doesn't follow all these steady state probability and all those concepts, right? Because it is not irreducible, it is not ergodic, but it is still an important topic. Why? Because in many practical cases we observe this process. For example, suppose those who are from manufacturing engineering, it would be quality inspection. So suppose a workpiece which is undergoing a quality inspection. So suppose it is state 1, 2. I'm just giving a practical example. Then 4. Okay. See, if you look at this Markov chain, what is it? It's an absorbing one. 4 is the absorbing state. Now, suppose a workpiece is at a state 1. So 3 inspectors are there, quality inspectors, right? So the job of the quality inspector 1 is to inspect the product, okay, and then pass it on to the inspector 2, which then inspects, and then it has two options. One is that it passes it on if it feels that okay, this product can be passed on to the next stage of inspection, so it passes on to 3. Otherwise, he simply rejects it. Okay. Then the inspector 3 has also say two options. One is that you either pass it or you reject it. Okay. Now see this rejection state, this 4, once the product reaches this rejection state, so there can be continuation of this chain also. It may not end here, it can just go on and have other states also. But suppose it comes to 4, then it is rejected. So it can no longer participate in other states, right? So this type of chain, this type of process is common in many industries. So we need to understand this chain to some extent, okay, with some details. So now let us first see that how to represent the transition matrix of an absorbing chain. So because absorbing chain is not irreducible, so this is not irreducible, automatically we can conclude that all the states, so some are absorbing states, and then all the other states are what? transient, right? It cannot be recurrent. Transient, because in the long run it will get trapped in 4, right? So all the other states are transient. So what we do, we can write the transition matrix by just keeping the transient states first and then the absorbing states. So say we identify that what are the transient, say the k transient states are there. So those first k we put as transient. So p11, p12 up to p21, p22 like this. Then pk1 first k states, k2, then pkk, right? One k. So like this. Okay. So these are the first k states of a chain, which are transient. Okay, and the remaining are absorbing. So you will start with p1 k plus 1 and then go ahead. So similarly from here you can write pk k plus 1 like this. And so what will be in the left bottom? So it will be 0 0 because they are all transient, absorbing to transient. So absorbing to transient, there is no probability. So like this, 0 0, and then in the right hand bottom it will be all identity matrix, right? Diagonal elements will only be 1. I'll explain this why I am writing like this. So okay, so this is the transition matrix on absorbing chain. Now you say that why I am writing first k states as transient, because first k may not be transient. That's not a problem, you can always relabel it, right? In the matrix, right? So just for the computational convenience, I have put the first k states. I've identified the transient states first and then I put the absorbing states, so that it has some nice structure. You can see what are the absorbing states. Other than that, there is no other purpose. Okay, so clearly why this is 1, because they are absorbing, so that's why they are 1. So and why these are all 0, this left hand side, these are all 0, because the transient to absorbing to transient, there is no probability. There should be no arc. There should be no outgoing arc, right, from absorbing to any other transient. And then these upper portion can have any value. So that is not a problem. So can you visualize this matrix? Why I am writing in this fashion?
Yes, sir.
So let us now put it more formally. So I am dividing it in 4 quadrants, this matrix. These 4 quadrants is clearly visible. The first quadrant I am terming it as Q, second one as R, third this one as 0 matrix, 0, not O, 0, okay, and then null matrix, then I. This is the identity matrix, right? So now I can say safely that for any absorbing Markov chain, you can write its transition probability, transition matrix as like this: Q, R, 0, and I. So these are the 4 quadrants, right? Where the first k states are transient. First k states are transient. This is how we have organized the matrix. Okay. We will see how we use it later on in some computations. So representation of the transition matrix for absorbing chain is now clear, right? This is how we represent it. Okay, and there is a purpose for this representation which will now be clear. Now before that, let me give you an example so that you can easily correlate with it. Say 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. These are 4 states on a chain. This is half. This is 1 by 4. This is 1 by 4. This is 1 by 3. And this is 1 by 3. This is 1. This is 1. So clearly, if you are given this chain, you can clearly see that it is an absorbing chain. And what are the absorbing states? 3 and 4, right? Isn't it? 3 and 4. Now,
Yes, sir.
So now I want to understand that what are the absorption probabilities? Absorption probability. How do I define absorption probability? Suppose you start from node 1, this is state 1. You want to know, because you see, if you start from node 1, a random walk can be like this. From 1 to 2 you may come. So if you simulate the process, right? So a walk can be like this, 1 to 2, then again say 2 to 1, and then it remains at 1 for some iterations, and then again come to 2, and then come to 4, and end here, right? Because it has hit the absorbing state. So alternatively it can, so although in the chain, see 3 is the neighbor of 1. So ideally you would expect that it will it should end in 3 because the 3 is a neighbor and its probability is half. But if you simulate the process, you can take a random walk, it may not go to 3. It may not end at 3. It may end at 4 also. There is a possibility, right? Of course, the ending at 3 is much higher. Probability is much higher. That is there. So this is what we want to know. That if I start from 1, what is the probability that it will end up in an absorbing state? 3 or 4. So this is defined as A. So we have a term for this, absorption probability. So A13. So A13 is the absorption probability of if you start from state 1 and end up, what is the probability that you end up at 3? Similarly, A14. What is A14? If you start from 1, what is the probability that you will end up at 4? So from this Markov chain, you cannot directly compute what is this probability. Right? So there has to be some mathematical basis for computing these probabilities, and these are important because you want to know what is its chance of hitting a dead end, right? And now there are many dead ends. Now if there were only one absorbing state, these would have been trivial because you always know that these will end up in that particular absorbing state. But because there are multiple absorbing states, so now you want to know what are the probabilities. So you want to know the probability, absorption probability distribution, which means that what? Individual probabilities, that it will end up at 3, then end up at 4. Now clearly you see that unlike steady state probabilities, which is independent of the initial state, the absorption probability depends on initial state. So that's why I have written A13. That means 1 is important here. You need to give this information. that it has started at 1, right? Similarly, you can say A23, A24. So initial state will influence these probability values. Okay. Even in the long run behavior. So this is a striking difference from ergodic Markov chain, the steady state probabilities. Those are independent of initial state. Here, it depends on the initial state, which is also natural, because say if I see from 1, naturally it should go to 3 faster than to 4. Similarly for 2, it should go to 4 faster, with higher probability than to 3. Okay, so it depends on initial state. Now mathematically, how do I compute this AIJ? So this is AIJ, right? Absorption probability is AIJ. So how do I compute this? We already know the definition of fast passage time, right? Fast passage time and its probability also. AIJ is the probability, mind you. This is not the number of steps or number of transition. It is very clearly written here, probability, right? So what is the, for fast passage, what is the probability distributions we are having? Fn ij. So what is Fn ij? That if you start from I, you will go to J in n steps, fast time, for the fast time, right? J is the absorbing state, so first time it goes to J means absorption. So we'll have to use this Fijn in defining AIJ. How to use it?
Like
Can I write
within
it?
like if
Does it make sense? That it goes to J in 1 step or in 2 steps or in 3 steps, infinite number of steps. Sum of all
Yes.
should be the absorption probability.
yes sir.
Right. So I have used here the fast passage time probability distribution to define absorption probability distribution. Okay. Now again there is a problem. You see, problem never ends. What is the problem with this? The same problem, infinite series. So you cannot compute. You cannot compute yet. So now you please try to find out a way, similar way, that the recursive way we have computed the fast passage, this mean fast passage time, right? How to compute the AIJ in a recursive manner using the similar recursive fashion, which we'll discuss in the next class. So far you know the what is an absorbing Markov chain, how to represent its absorption, transition matrix in terms of the first k states as transient and the next remaining states as absorbing states, and it gives you a nice structure like this, QR and 0I, right? And now we have defined the absorption probability. So you will have to use these, QR and all these things in your recursive formula to get the absorption probabilities, because these you cannot compute, it is not computable. So these we'll discuss in the next class. In the meanwhile, you also try to figure out how to compute it. Same way, I'm just giving a hint. So you consider one point I, Aij, so I to J, right? So it can go in one step absorb. So J is absorbing state here, right? So I to J, it can go in a single step or through some neighbor K, right, which is transient. K must be transient here. It cannot be absorbing, otherwise it will never go to J, right? It will get absorbed here. So condition on K is it should be transient neighbor. So it will choose a transient neighbor, and then again through multiple steps it may go to J. So I have given you the hint, and now you try to figure out how to compute this AIJ. In the same fashion, you have to compute. Okay. Any question?
No, sir.